I'd like to call to order the Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, November 15th. If everyone would stand and recite the pledge with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let the record show that we have all board members present, and we need an adoption of the agenda, including the supplemental, we have an addition to the agenda and then a supplemental personnel report. The addition is the approval of the iPad replacements.
I make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0. And Tracy, did you have a chance to look over the bills?
I did, and everything looked in order.
Okay.
This time I'd like to make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay.
A second.
We have a motion by Tracy and a second by Barbara. All in favor? 7-0. And next up, we have some very special guests with us this evening. This Dodge City High School soccer state champions. They're outside, so they got to come up the stairs.
Okay, clap again, guys, when they come in, okay?
If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create in the perfect When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you had. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal and you will attract phenomenal. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight, you work day and night and give up your time, your peace, and your sleep. If all that you dream and scheme is about, and life seems useless and worthless without it. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential.
tonight, we're so proud to recognize our state champion Red Demon soccer team. Not only did they finish a perfect 21-0 season with a 1-0 win against Olathe East, they also are the first Kansas State title winners in boys soccer by a team from Western Kansas. The Red Demons climbed into the top 10 in the USA Today Sports National Soccer Coaches Association of America Super 25 for fall boys soccer. Dodge City received votes in the ranking but moved to number 6 after not allowing a goal in any postseason game. Congratulations to both the players and the coaches of our Dodge City High School State Championship Red Demons.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but your state championship is the first one that Mr. Cunningham has had as a superintendent.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't want. Picture.
You tell me when you're ready.
Good job, thank you.
Good job, guys.
Well, that was so good. Can we just stop here?
Sure. All in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, next up, we're ready for our Stuco reports. Maribel Sanchez from Dodge City High School.
Oh, before I start, I'm very, very proud of our soccer boys. They represent our school as well as our student council does. So
That's
another round, if they're still there, of applause. So last month, we had our second annual pumpkin carving contest. That was October 28th. Student council formed a committee in charge of getting donated prizes. Some of the prizes included free tickets to the Haunted Hotel, iTunes gift cards, Sonic gift cards, and then our generous Stuco advisor, Mr. Hansen, donated a candy basket for the overall winner. Student council will be teaming up with the counseling services to host the December food drive to the Manna House. That's going to be something we talk about in our later meeting. Floor show tryouts are next Monday and Tuesday. Some of us Stuco members will be able to go and judge. And then floor show is Friday, December 8th. And then Stuco members will be able to help escort people to their seats and all that day. We're planning our next student council meeting the 2nd of December. And that meeting we really want to dedicate to really improving our leadership and uniting student council, because before I felt like a lot of the previous years, we've never really known each other. I'll be guilty to admit that I don't know everyone in student council. This is such a huge activity, but that's one of my goals as student council president, and I told them before I was elected, is that I really want us to all know each other, because that's one way that we can make the school a better place if we all work together, and we all need to be united. So we're going to work on leadership and just kind of team building overall. Then Dr. Fortmeyer made a request last month, or I think around last month, right, to Student Council for us to give some input on iPads and on ways to have middle schoolers have a smoother transition to high school. So Mr. Hansen and I created a survey for student council members to give their input. We sent that survey out to student council members last week, and the results came in, and we're looking through that, and that'll be also a little bit of what we touch on the next meeting. And then, did Mr. Hansen send that to you? Yeah, so he has the results, and so does Mrs. Feist. And so we'll work on those two things at our next meeting. Is there any questions?
I think your team building idea is terrific.
Thank you, thank you.
It's
It's something
terrific.
I always thought of ever since I was a freshman in student council. I always thought we really do need to get to know each other.
You bet.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Dodge City Middle School. Camilla?
Good afternoon. I'm Camila Gonzalez, and I am the DCMS Student Council President. Okay, so during last week of October, DCMS participated in Red Ribbon Week. Some of the activities that we did were Fact of the Day, drug awareness videos with mini quizzes, poster contest, and Spirit Week. Students participated in the activities to earn prizes while learning about consequences of drugs. We ended Red Ribbon Week with the Halloween-themed dance. We had over 150 students attend the dance, and Student Council made around $450. DCMS is very proud of our excelling academics, each grade level, and an awards ceremony to honor the students that are maintaining a GPA of 3.0 or above. Sixth graders earned 178 awards, 7th grade earned 145 awards, and 8th grade earned 155 awards. This is a total of 478 students earning awards for academic achievement. Students also participated in a United States Constitution, we studied the United States Constitution and how a president is elected. Some classes created campaign posters and learned about the election process. On election day, all students participated in a mock election. Members of Student Council and NJHS also had the opportunity to work the mock elections. Our school voted for Hillary Clinton. On the 11th of October is our Veterans Day Assembly. The 7th and 8th grade choir and 8th grade band and orchestra performed. Our guest speaker is was Lieutenant Glenn Fortmeyer, and the Kansas National Guard also did a flag folding ceremony. Students in art classes made the decorations for the assembly, and students in the drama classes wrote speeches. We are very proud to be able to host the ceremony and honor people who have served in our country. Students are also fundraising for the New York-Boston trip. This will be a 5-day trip that happens in July of 2016. The students have been selling Little Caesar pizza kits and have been also doing concessions at United Wireless Arena and DCMS. Some things that they are going to do or see are the 911 monument, the Statue of Liberty, the Lexington Green, Boston's downtown Quincy Market, and the Old North Church. We have about 25 students and 3 adults planning to participate in the trip. PTO hosted a dodgeball tournament as a fundraiser. Students and staff made teams of 6 people to face off on the court. There were a total of 44 teams that participated in the tournament, and we raised around $1,300. PTO has also started the building and collecting box tops for education. In our first push for box tops, the month of October, we raised $223. We hope that we can continue to make all the students bring box tops and continue helping our school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, and finally, Comanche Middle School. Carlos?
I always have to readjust this. I am Carlos Teran, the Stuco president for Comanche Middle School. We recently had a barn dance on Friday, There were a lot of cowboys and cowgirls dancing. And our admission was $2 or 2 cans of food so we could donate more to continue for our food drive to the Manor House. Also, last Friday, we did have a Veterans Day assembly. Our guest speakers were Mr. Sellens, who spoke on how kids our age, that was really amazing, by the way, they fought in the war, and it was just really amazing. And the other speaker was Mr. Hayes, who spoke on the importance of Veterans Day and how not to think of it as another day in the calendar. To me, that was like really inspiring because most students are like, oh, it's Veterans Day, it's just another day in the calendar. But it's really important. This Friday, we are attending a community concert. We will be walking to the Civic Center to listen to the Rhythm Future Quartet. And our wrestlers placed third at the Dodge City Invitational last Saturday. There were 8 teams, and that was really good. The CMS 7th grade girls basketball team is undefeated in league play.
Wow.
And I wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Awesome.
Very good reports. Thank you all for that.
Thank you all very much.
All right, next up, recognition of visitors. Persons may present ideas or concerns regarding USD 443 schools. No action will be taken by the board at this meeting. Personalities and behavior of employees are not to be presented during this period, but are to be reported to the employee's immediate supervisor. The president shall determine the amount of time to be spent for citizen participation. If you'd like to address the board, please approach the podium at this time. Seeing nobody jump up, we'll move on. Next up is the consent agenda, and that includes the approval of personnel, including the supplemental personnel report, the minutes from October 24th Board of Education meeting, approval of Every Kid in the Park grant application for elementary schools, approval of the STEC CAP planning grant for Dodge City High School. On that, I'd just like to make a quick note. It's not very often when you apply for a grant and ask for $75,000 and the government gives you $100,000 instead. So good job,
I
Jackie.
do have a copy of the award I pass around for you all to look at, and we'll just leave it over there at your spot.
Okay. Also, approval of furniture bids for Willroads Gardens, Beeson and Lynn. Approval of Dodge City High School Hero Day Grant Award from the Community Foundation. Approval of Wild West STEM Camp Grant Award from the Community Foundation.
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Ryan and a second by Brian. All in favor? 7-0. All right. Next up, we have new business. Yvonda, public information.
Now I have to adjust it back from the middle school student. The National Education Association's 95th American Education Week spotlights the importance of providing every child with a quality education and the need for everyone to do his or her part in making public schools great. We're hosting our 12th annual celebration tomorrow night. The Come and Go event is from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Civic Center and is for all staff and their families. We would like to invite everybody to come and enjoy a chili dinner with cinnamon rolls and the door prizes that area businesses have so graciously donated. I know this is a crazy week for everybody. It's just a really busy time, but we would love to have you come in and join us if you happen to have time. So again, Civic Center from 4 to 6 p.m. Don't feel like you need to come and stay the whole time. Just any time between 4 and 6 p.m., and we would love to have you. Okay.
Thanks, Yvonda. All right, human resources.
You're on the wrong agenda.
Oh, I am?
Sorry.
Sorry. Am I
Stuck
skipping?
Ray in there.
Okay. Ray, you're next. Sorry.
It's all right.
Story of my life.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Cunningham, Ms. Board President. We're coming today to ask permission to buy iPads, enough to replace all the high school and all the middle schools. Here's the overall theme for that. By the beginning of August, the next school year, when school starts, we would like to have every child have a 32 gig iPad. This is what this is about, the start. There's tremendous logistics involved to getting all this done. Todd Dool is here. He's the person responsible. Todd, raise your hand so they can see. Is responsible, him and his team, to get them implemented and stuff. There's a lot of work to be done. Todd agreed it's possible to do it. Jackie Feist agreed that we can start in January. And we're trying to push this through so we can get the order in by Christmas, because Mr. Dool is telling me that during the Christmas holidays, the people are required to work, and they can do a lot of the work and get them ready and boxed up and put to the classrooms in time. Now, if you remember back when we started this to now, it's a piece of cake, in my opinion, where we are. I don't expect even a hiccup on this anymore. So it's described in here in the considerations. And we also don't want to get too far behind like we did with the computers and then trying to catch up. We originally said we're going to replace all the iPads every 3 years, and this is about. In the week in review, I talked a little bit about what we're going to do with the ones that we're pulling down. And as time goes by, we'll keep you informed on some options, and we'll come to you when the time is right to deal with that situation. If you have questions, you can ask them as well. So the considerations is, and the latest iPad right now is like what you got, but the little version, and 32 gig for the students. Yours, I think, is 128 or 64. The students will be 32 gig. That's twice what they have now. We had some concern as people started using the iPad, and kids, I started having concern, and you can ask some people here also. That's why we wanted to go 32 gig. I want to also point out the iPad for each, we got a quote back 500. If you look at the website right now, the iPad sells for $599. So from $599, we automatically get $20 discount. So that's $579. But due to the amount we're purchasing, it seems like we got them down to $500 each. And Mr. Dool and his team picked out a case. I have a sample there if you want to see it. It's a happy medium case, and came back today or yesterday at $34.95 each. It's easy to put on. The staff feels like it's the way to go at this time, and they have the experience over the years in dealing with that. So Mr. Hammond is here. If there's a question about the money, he said I need to add on the statement down below, funds are available in the iPad replacement account and the contingency reserve fund. But that's Mr. Hammond lingo, not mine.
That's where the money is in the contingency.
Bill, how does that fund work? I mean, what do you do?
The contingency reserve, there is a specific state statute that governs that. And it's available for items that basically the board specifically vote to spend money on. I can move a lot of money and do a lot of things in the district without really coming to the board. I can't do it out of this account. And so when our auditors come in and when they look at the board consideration sheets and they look at the board minutes, it needs to say contingency reserve fund. And what we have done, as you remember, when we started the iPad initiative, instead of going in debt like some districts do and they owe people forever, we paid cash up front and we also started putting money away. So at this point in this fund, I just looked at this afternoon. If I look at it now, I'll probably get the wrong number. We have $2,447,050 available for iPad replaces in the contingency reserve fund. And what you've done as a board, you've designated that in the contingency reserve fund. But that's why I asked Ray to mention that, because when the auditors come in, they want to know that you, the board, authorized this to come out of the contingency reserve. They'll ask that question.
Ballpark, how much, what are we spending on textbooks?
We are spending less on textbooks than we're taking in.
I would hope.
We didn't hardly spend anything last year.
And I think there's probably some things we could spend, and I think there's also maybe some of the technology that we're buying. Part of that could come out of the textbook fund in the future, because it's really in lieu of textbooks, so we need to look at that in the future. But last year, we didn't really transfer anything into the textbook, but we're just not spending the dollars there anymore.
Okay,
So,
We used to have a $750,000 budget there.
right.
yeah.
We don't need that anymore. We don't need all that anymore.
And part of that, we've designated toward the iPads each year because we knew it was going to come down, so.
You bet.
But anyway, I just commend the board. I think it's been good planning, and I think it's nice to become able to a meeting like this and say, we have the cash in the bank, we can take care of this.
Yeah.
We've been putting roughly $1 million a year into that fund, so that way it would be there when we needed it.
So we'll be taking the iPads that middle schoolers and high school are using, moving them down to the elementary. What's the timeline for replacing iPads at the elementary level?
Well, the ones, we anticipate these will last the elementary kids at least an additional 2 to 3 years, right?
I would like to land on no more than 2 years before we have to act on those.
But by then, we'll have that fund replenished
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
point that we can do it.
So number-wise, number-wise, do we have about the same number of K-5 as we do 6-12?
It seems like, when you see that number
About
4,000 here,
3,500
we
each.
put a few spares in. I think it's right at half. I think we have, 7,300 kids right now?
71, and we have about 3,500 K-5 and 3,500 6-12.
Okay.
So, two things. One, I know we just replaced teachers' iPads. They have the smaller ones, and all the kids are going to get the bigger ones.
No.
Is that right?
No,
No.
Everybody will have, teachers, the kids will have the same one the teachers do,
Okay.
just with less
Memory.
storage, yeah.
That's-
The
okay.
teachers have 64, these are 32.
And how does that affect our insurance, our iPad insurance? Because we're going to,
They're
We
fine.
self-insure.
They're
It
fine.
it's been negligible.
so,
I haven't heard
We
a
haven't talked about that in a
complaint
long
from a
time.
teacher.
We quit even selling, we quit selling the insurance that we offered the first year or two because they were making money off the premiums and we didn't have significant enough claims that
awesome.
it was costing parents more than we were realizing in repairs.
Yeah.
Kids for the most part, take care of them.
Good. Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Ryan and a second by Barbara. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray. Okay, now we have human resources.
Well, good evening, Madam President, Board Member, Superintendent Cunningham. I'm here tonight to give you an update on the district's teacher recruitment and retention efforts. When I was hired, it was made clear that finding and keeping good teachers in Dodge City was to be a #1 priority for me. And I understand that need. I'm used to serving in districts that are hard to recruit teachers to. So one of the things that I asked Mr. Cunningham if we could do was to put together a recruitment and retention committee that had the opportunity to provide various perspectives on what it would take to get the top quality teachers into our district and then keep them here. And so this committee has been meeting and talking about things such as which university career fairs are most beneficial for us to spend our time and effort attending and recruiting teachers from. What types of incentives are neighboring districts offering their teachers that we need to be cognizant of and thinking about? We know that that's going on through some direct conversations with districts in our area. And we know that some people have made decisions to go to those districts for the incentives that they are offering. So this committee is just talking about being very creative in the way that we go about securing teachers, how we convince them to come visit our district, what we do when they do come for the visit, how we convince them that this is the place that they could build a career and raise a family. So we're really looking for them to come to the city and be connected not only with teachers with the district, but also with the city. And if you recall, back in September, I put together the first new teacher cohort support event at Prime on the 9 to bring new teachers together from all across the district to have them an opportunity to meet each other, become connected, learn about services that are in the city. We're doing another one at the end of this month. I'm pretty excited. We're actually getting the city trolley. and having them load up, and we'll do a tour, and they'll get to see the Christmas lights, and we'll go by several places of interest that if you're new to Dodge City, you might not know where those things are. And we'll make it fun as well. We have some great prize giveaways and some things that they'll enjoy. But the main reason for doing that is to show them that we care about them becoming a part of the city, that there's a network of support here for them. So those are the kinds of things that we're talking about in this committee. I've put together with committee input a strategic plan. It's formal with 4 goals, and then under each goal there are very specific action points that we think we need to take to achieve those goals. I've formulated a budget on what I think it will take to fund these initiatives, and we are currently reviewing that strategic plan, and the intent is to have it to you in December for consideration and approval. So tonight I just want to let you know that that's coming, that we are on top of thinking about these issues, and we have some very innovative ideas, I believe. So I'll be bringing that back to you in December. For right now, do you have any plan or any questions for me about the plan?
Have you gotten any details? I noticed in the thing, it said the districts that you talked to declined to tell how that was earned or paid. Have you been able to get any detail on that?
Yeah, they're not, well, I think maybe Mr. Hammond has received some additional information since I put that into my report. It is running through payroll where there's a W-2 issued. It is a W-2 event.
Okay.
Even in speaking with some of the folks from the State Department, it's just not real clear the best way to handle this situation. And so we have met with our school attorney and with our school auditor to kind of talk about if we're going to do something as far as offering incentives to teachers, we want to make sure we do it right from the start. Mm-hmm. And so we've had those conversations, and we're really laying the groundwork from being able to do that and do it the correct way.
Very good.
I think it's great, and I'm glad to know that you've got a committee, because I think that's a really good way to get a broad range of ideas. So I think it's great.
And I want to commend the staff on recruiting teachers. If other districts are offering these and we haven't been, and we've had the success we've had in recruiting teachers, our people have been doing a good job.
Yeah, I think that Dodge City has a fine reputation in this area of the country, and that certainly helps in bringing teachers to us over maybe some other competing districts. But we have heard that, I mean, let's think about it. When you're a college student and you're coming out of college and you're poor and you're tired of being poor, when someone says, you know, I'll offer you this financial incentive to come to our district over a neighboring district, you're going to give that some serious thought.
Sure.
So those are some things that we see moving forward. I've even seen it at the teacher recruitment events I've been to this fall at different universities. Just standing back and watching what some of the other districts have to talk about with the students as they pass by, it's becoming very aggressive in what they're talking to students about at the career fairs and what kinds of things they have to offer those students. So we need to really think seriously about how we're going to compete in that environment.
I imagine it is very aggressive and very competitive, even more so now.
It really is. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ramona. Thank you. All right, business services, Bill?
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent, I come this evening and really with some good news. We have prepared, or the Hutton Construction will bring guaranteed max prices on 2 more facilities tonight, and so I'll ask Brian Rowley to come and present those to you. I might say overall the project's really pretty much on our timeline and within budget, so we're real grateful.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening. Do want to present guaranteed maximum prices for 3 projects. First one being Dodge City High School. We're excited to report that received good competitive subcontractor bids on this project and are able to offer a guaranteed maximum price of $28,529,909 on the high school, which is below what we projected it would cost back in April. So the second project is Sewell Elementary. Again, had good competitive prices, and I will say we've got diversity in our subcontractors too. It's not the same people on every project, so that's exciting going forward from a manpower leveling standpoint, if you will, that we'll have people to build the work. So Sewell Elementary, $6,393,508 is the guaranteed maximum price for Sewell. And then the third project is Central Elementary, and this is just kind of a partial GMP. We're looking to get ahead of the work there a little bit. As design is completing, we want to get the electrical system upgraded over the winter break. So this is a partial GMP of $59,135 to get that work done over the last 3 weeks of the year here.
That's actually a separate item on your agenda.
Mhm. Mhm.
Are there any questions?
No, I think the bids did come in really nice. But your timelines in this book are for young eyes, let me tell you.
I do have larger copies.
Yeah, okay.
And this, Jeff, is somewhat for you. We did expend, well, no, you just mentioned at one time you wanted the addition to the field house as big as possible, and we've done what we can do in the current budget. But if we wanted to add an additional 16,000 square feet to the facility, it would cost us 1.6 million, give or take. So if you happen to know somebody who'd like to give us a gift of 1.6 million, we could sure add another 16,000 square feet real easily. But what we have today is going to be an awesome facility for the high school, and we're really excited about that. But you'd asked for that earlier, so I just wanted to make sure you had that number.
Since you brought that up, do you remember the dimensions of that?
The additional would be another 80 foot by 200.
I mean, what we currently have, 200 by what?
By 140.
By
140.
Okay.
It's going to be an awesome facility for our young people, and I think that's really where this board has supported. And, I think the thing that we had happen earlier this evening is that support, everything from activity buses to facilities to personnel, all the things that they need, we have in this district. And I think we should be real proud of that. And we appreciate Alan's leadership in getting those things, and we appreciate the board's support. So it's good to work for a district where we make those things happen. But anyway, the first consideration sheet this evening is the Board of Education is respectfully requested to review and approve the guaranteed maximum pricing for the construction projects at Dodge City High School in the amount of $28,529,909, and Sewell Elementary in the amount of $6,393,508. Funding will come from the Budget Project Fund. The board is further requested to authorize the board clerk to issue a purchase order and sign a contract, subject to review by board council.
I will gladly make that motion before somebody changes their mind.
All right, we got a motion by Jeff and a second by Tammy. All in favor? 7-0.
Okay. The next item was if I can find the next piece in here. Basically, the next one is to the partial guaranteed maximum price for the electrical service upgrades at Central Elementary. Again, we're trying to get these done over holidays so we don't disrupt any education. The Board of Education is respectfully requested to approve the guaranteed maximum prices for electrical service upgrades at Central Elementary School in the amount of $59,135 to be paid from the Bond Project Fund. The board is further requested to authorize the board clerk to issue a purchase order and sign a contract subject to review by board council.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Brian and a second by Tammy. All in favor? 7-0.
If I might, one thing that's come up, for example, we are now in the process of ordering kitchen equipment for Will Rhodes Garden. We will at the next board meeting. We finally got some pricing. It came in after we prepared the board agenda tonight. I am taking the view that if those things are within budget, since the board has approved the overall projects, we will bring them specifically for board approval, but I'm not going to hold the project up for those kind of items. The money's there. I just have to move it from Tom's bond account to Ryan's bond account so I can get the projects done. And if there's any issues about that, please let me know. Otherwise, we will continue, because again, we want to keep the projects on schedule, but you will be having that at the next board meeting. Just want to give you a heads up on that. Any questions about that? Okay. Now, at this point, the next item is a review of bond projects, and Tom and Ryan, I don't know who's going to handle this, but I'll let you all argue over it, or...
I just want to give you just a brief overview of the projects where we are today. We have a lot of blue lines up there, and really what those represent is the construction sequence of the project. Currently, right now, as far as the design team, we have Central Elementary and the Dodge City Middle School that we are still finalizing the technical construction documents. Those are looking, if you look here, we're looking at Central and Dodge City Middle School to be pretty much wrapped up by the end of this year. Turn those over to Hutton Construction, and they'll be bidding those in January, starting construction sometime in February. So if you look at the schedule, you got 2016, 17, and 18. 2017, a lot of dust is going to start flying around Dodge. A lot of construction going on. If you look at the Lynn, Beeson, and Will Roads, we are very soon be wrapping those projects up right after the first of the year. I know the board took a tour through those earlier. Be a good timing. Maybe we get a schedule. You can come back and see the finished product. I think they're really coming out very nice. I think you'll be very happy with them. With that, we're going to see Sunnyside start up, and Miller's already started. If you've been out to Miller Elementary School, you've seen, a lot of the earth changing we're doing out there. We haven't really started any building as such. We're just getting the earth shaped to the point that we can start some construction. Then the school will be starting soon, as well as the high school. And so a lot of activity is going to be starting. In addition to the schedule, you can see most of our construction will be occurring in 2017, and of course mid-2018 when things will be wrapping up. I know the lines seem fairly arbitrary, but really got to credit to Ryan Rowley and Hutton Construction putting this size of project out in a market that's really not one you can really predict very easily, and do it in a way to get good competitive bids is tough. We don't have a luxury, even in Wichita, even in Kansas, of working trades out there. So how you put these projects out to get the best bid, the best people do it, really takes a lot of good work. And I think Hutton really did an excellent job. And that's why the sequence, that's why the different starts in the project. It really helps us get the best price, the best people out there, get the best product for the job. In addition to this, we do have our security systems we'll be bidding for all the schools. And that'll be finalizing the design right after the first of the year. That's when we'll wrap in Comanche and Ross, and they're part of the project, and all the schools will have a security system. We'll be coming back and give you more detail on what that means. And so we thought it'd be best, as we looked at this particular component of the project, if you might remember, rather than trying to bid the security system separate, we have one security system, one contractor, one equipment system that works for all. We're going to have a hybrid of each project, so that'll be coming out also right after the first of the year. In the meantime, if you saw on your sheet there, we did get bids on Lynn, Beeson, and Will Road with regard to furniture, and so those bids were good, came in our budget. I think next time Bill is going to show you some contracts and get those going forward. We will be having subsequent furniture packages go out as these projects get near to the point of completion. We like to bid those to get the economies to scale, but at the same time don't get it too soon. We have to store the material, or we of course don't want it too late where we kind of missed an end date. So it's kind of a fine tune that we're going to be doing. But overall, I think the project's going very well. The bulk of the project's been bid. I think we do have the challenges of Central and Dodge City Middle School. Those are good-sized projects. But I do think they really come with the materials and the systems. I think we're going to get a lot of good competitive bids on that. I think after the first year, I think it's a good time for more good construction bids. So with that, do you have any questions?
Just let me know when the last modular's gone, and we'll have a party.
Okay, we'll do.
Sure.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. The next item this evening is I want to kind of give an update on the insurance storm damage settlement and repairs. This is basically focusing on the roofs. As you're aware, we had an estimated storm loss of about $2.9 million, or give or take $3 million. The adjuster had identified 4 schools that need to be replaced as soon as possible, and I'm glad to report really
Lynn and Sewell are basically completed at this point. There's still a few catch-up things the contractor needs to do. Dodge City High School is under construction, and we are currently preparing the specifications to send out on Dodge City Middle School. So those four were kind of our first point to try to get moving on this issue. What we did, Chris Meyer, myself, Mary Trent from the insurance, our insurance agent, we've asked for some input from Tom, from Waltney at Diamond Roofing. I kind of put together this spreadsheet that's attached, and I wanted to kind of go through the recommendations this evening. This is why we're here. First of all, you may hear that we took money instead of fixing roofs. That will be a true statement. Some of the roofs on the modules that somebody just indicated they'd like to see gone did have damage on them. We are not going to fix those roofs. They're going to go away. But we do get to keep the depreciated value. So that's the first thing I'm asking the board to approve tonight, because I want you to be aware there are some roofs that we're not going to fix because they're not going to be around long enough.
Right.
So that was the first thing. Second thing is we are asking for the authorization for the development of performance specifications by GLMV Architects and contracts with Diamond Roofing for Central Elementary, Comanche Middle School, Dodge City Middle School Storage Building, Sunnyside Elementary Storage Building, the coach's office, which is now a maintenance storage facility, the Sewell Elementary Storage Building, Beeson Storage Building, the alternate ed, formerly the Second Opportunity Building. So those are some areas where that we have some things that are pretty simple to fix. We think a performance specification will do that. The insurance proceeds should take care of all the costs associated with those particular facilities. So we want to get those out and get them done. The third thing is that as we looked at the Northwest Elementary roof, the recommendation basically of our architect and the roofer and district personnel was basically we really need to replace Northwest Elementary roof. It's to that stage in life. So instead of maybe trying to patch it at this point and get by for a couple of years, we're really going to try to go ahead, have specifications prepared, and maybe come back to the board at some point and say, it's time, can we take care of this and move on? And the fourth thing is, we'd asked the board to direct administration. We've been trying to look at the cost benefits of various coatings, the elastic and merit coating, other types of coatings versus cap sheets, and we've been given another option, in fact, just in the last couple of days from our roofer, to look for the roofs on the bus barn, buildings B and C, the Civic Center, and the portion of Ross Elementary, which is basically the kitchen and I think kindergarten rooms. Am I correct on that, Chris? The music rooms, okay. So anyway, that's the recommendation. We'd appreciate the board to approve. Any funds we'll have to come back to and talk to you about as we get bids, but we think that gives us a pretty good stance. There is some bad news in this, and the bad news is we may get a lot of roofs fixed, and sometime whoever's standing in my chair in 20 years may have a whole lot of roofs to fix at once. But the good news is at least we're going to have a lot of good roofs on our buildings, and we will have good dry buildings the way we want them to be. So.
Okay, let me understand, you're going to get bids on using the cap sheets?
Yes, we're going to look at that, and there's been some questions on the cap sheet. Should we use what were the two types, Chris? The cap sheets, there was an ABS? SBS, and they're talking also a TPO. We don't know what's best on that yet. We're just trying to get the best information we can. We want to do some costing and cost analysis on it.
But the insurance is just paying for the coating, not for
Right.
the cap sheets.
And the question is, if we pay the extra, can we get an extended warranty? And we're being told, I think, between a 15 and 20-year warranty possibly. And that's the question. If we use the coatings, we won't get that kind of warranty and probably that kind of performance. So we're really trying to analyze that, and when we get a final recommendation, we'll come back to the board. We're just trying to move as far as we can and get the best long-term value for the district.
And the middle school had damage and Northwest didn't.
Well, Northwest had
I've lived in
some.
Southwest
They
Kansas a
didn't
long
get, and I think we talked about the middle school roof earlier. There's I think 15 to 20 different sections on Dodge City Middle School. That building has been added on to a lot of different times. And we even went in and they did cores on the various parts of those roofs. Some of them have like a 0.6, wasn't it, I believe, Tom? It was a 0.6 R value. Other parts had really pretty decent R values. Well, what we want to do, if we're going to do the roof, we don't want to just put a roof over something that's not adequate. We want to get adequate roof insulation in, because we're going to be in that building for another 50 years. So that's kind of the sense there. We really want to bring that up to a district standard. It's going to cost us more money, but I think it's long-term a better investment for the district.
Well, yeah, I think everything's great. It's just the mystery of hail. It's just like 30 feet over there.
I'm,
Yeah. Trust me, I know I was involved with it for 35 years, so I understand. But that's weird.
staff recommendation, I think I've kind of gone through those. If that's agreeable, we would look for a motion to approve that, or if there's any other questions.
Do we need two separate or just all?
I was going to just put it all together. It's just kind of a,
I'll move. Accept staff recommendation.
A second.
I have a motion by Ryan and a second by Brian. All in favor? 7-0.
thank you all so
That's
much.
just fun to say every time.
Okay, ready for me? The only
Yes,
thing
sir.
I have on my list is the legislative committee report from KASB that was provided to you all a week ago. And the intent is to review the legislative proposals from the legislative committee and direct our delegate, who is Brian Mushik, to represent this board's wishes at the delegate assembly in Wichita in December. Administration has reviewed the recommendations from legislative committee report and would recommend the board's approval and encourage your delegate to support it in the delegate assembly.
Okay.
Here's a new copy for you.
And Brian, you're the delegate, correct?
Yes.
Will be as soon as you appoint him. It's all part of the motion.
Oh, well, okay.
I would make a motion that we,
Unless somebody else wants the job.
No, because I was not planning on attending, but there is a legislative committee meeting that Friday evening. So I may accompany and
Okay.
serve as the alternative.
Okay.
If that's possible.
It is
Can I give you a call in the?
Yeah,
in the morning?
just let
Okay.
Deb know she made the arrangements.
Okay, I'll call in the morning and then I'll attend Saturday, but then I'll probably come back home.
Okay.
So, but I'll give you a call in the morning, Deb. Okay, thank you.
So if we'd like to appoint Ryan Mushik as our delegate with Ryan Osmus as an alternate delegate and direct that they support the proposals from the ASB Legislative Committee.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Tammy and a second by Barbara. All in favor? 7-0. Thank you, Brian and Ryan, for being willing to do that. We appreciate
Brian and
that.
Ryan show.
Okay, we have our
Taking it on the road.
consultants here from Kansas Association of School Boards to share with you all information about the last day and a half's superintendent characteristics forums that were held at the Learning Center. So Doug Meckel, are you going to start us off here? And I'll let you introduce the other ones as you.
I sure will. It's great to be back. It's good to see the board again. I'm not sure you feel the same way towards me, but if you remember last summer, I told you might get to meet the whole staff. I didn't know you'd meet them all at the same time, but as our schedules worked out, I was able to bring, basically the whole team came out and spent a day and a half in Dodge, getting to meet staff and community members from around basically the district and a wide range of community members. So we have a lot of insights to share with you. Before we go any further, I thought I would introduce them. We have Randy Weisman, who's our Director of Operations. Gary Sechrist, who's our Western Kansas Field Consultant, and you probably have seen Gary around quite a bit. He's a very gregarious person. And Dr. Brian Jordan, who is in charge of Leadership Services, and I work with him on a regular basis. So we were very fortunate we could spend the time together. Alan put us at the Learning Center, and we basically had 2 rooms with people in it most of the day for all day, yes, from noon until about 4:30, no, till 8:30 last night, and then again today, basically all morning. So we had a good turnout. The total numbers officially were
about 130 to 135 face-to-face people came through, and then we did some online, and we had about 40 people, 38, I think, online respond. So that's
basically tonight we have 3 objectives, but as I heard you talking about the convention, I should make that 4. We really expect to see you all at the convention, right?
I'll be there.
Okay. The first objective is that we have a chance to share with you the information that we have heard from community members. We want to put that up on the screen. Dr. Jordan will probably scroll through that, and we'll walk through that so that you'll feel comfortable knowing is this USD 443? Is this Dodge City? Is that us? We want to make sure that you feel comfortable with that. The input piece for you is really critical, because when we're done with that, we want to ask you the same 4 questions, and we want your input on the same ideas. We want to find out what you're thinking. And of course, then the last piece would be to find out if you have any questions at this point in the search itself. So, Dr. Jordan, you may have to run from there. Can we run it from here?
There is a clicker there.
Trigger's on the back.
All right. Oh, there you go. All right, so I just, how do I scroll it up and down then?
I think the arrows will move it up and down. I can
Don't think so.
You doing that?
I'm not doing that.
Hey, it's like magic to us.
Yeah.
You are doing that. You'll scroll that. Great. Well,
All right, so the leadership and professional or personal qualities tab there at the far left corner. No.
let's start on that one.
It's going to be easier for me to do it over there. All right. All right, oops, that's a little small for you all to see that, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so the first question that we started off with each of the focus groups was describe the most important leadership and personal qualities you would like to see in the new superintendent. So what you're looking at is a tabulation of frequent themes that came up related to that. So on the left-hand side there, that column that says frequency, 35 different responses were given that related to that first item up there. As you read through that first item, it talks about effective communicator, both written and orally. It talks about being relatable and communicate with all sorts of stakeholders within the district, willing to listen as well as to partner with the community folks. So that first item up there is really around effective communication and connecting that communication to your community members. The next most frequent item that was referenced was a person with humility and can connect with people, approachable, personable, and somebody that's willing to be out there, be visible, and people feel like they can come up to and visit with and feel like they're having a genuine conversation with them. So we had 28 responses given related to that item. So when you look at all those words up there, you'll notice there's a lot of semicolons there. Those were the verbatim responses that we got that we tagged into that piece right there. The next item up there, honesty and integrity, was a highly regarded characteristic you can see there. The visionary leader, somebody that really understands the changing times that we're living in, is looking forward and thinking about what's the next thing that we need to be prepared for in Dodge City schools, what's the vision going forward for the next 5 years for us. Then the next item up there is visibility and being willing to interact with people throughout the district, get out and really value those relationships that are established by being visible. Just scroll that down and look at the next set there. I'm not going to go through all of these verbatim, but if you guys take a minute and read basically lines 8 through 17 there, if there's some specific things that raise questions for you, I'd be happy to respond to those. So just take a minute and let you kind of look through and get an understanding of what personal and leadership qualities folks really felt were important.
Around the table. Randy's going to bring around the same handout to you so you can start processing some data as you look through this, because that's the same sheet we work off of. So as Brian talks about the very first question, the qualities or skills you're looking for in your new superintendent, and you hear what the community told you, you might want to jot down a few thoughts of your own, because remember, we will be coming back to ask you for those same thoughts.
And there's a few more items if you scroll up there just a little bit on from line 20 down to the very bottom. We include even those singleton items that individuals shared with us there, so you can see the whole range. And really after line 20 up there, the singletons are just arranged alphabetically. There's no specific reasoning as to where it got placed on the list.
This is all your data, so when we're done, we're leaving it with you but we wanted to make sure you had a chance to look at it and we can answer questions as we go. These are the things that we heard from multiple groups basically for the last 2 days that were really important to the characteristics they desired in the new superintendent.
So, can you scroll back up to the top and let them see kind of what the top group was again before we transition out? So if you have to summarize kind of the top 5 things there, you see are effective communicator, both written and orally, somebody that's approachable, has some humility, honesty, integrity, somebody with vision, somebody that's willing to be out, be visible, and to develop those relationships. And then line number 8 kind of gets cut off there, but previous experience in a similar type of district and community. Those are really your top 6 most referenced qualities that people said needed to be present from a personal or a leadership standpoint for your district. Okay, let's go to that next tab over, which is
a lot of compliments to, I hate to say this with him sitting right here, a lot of compliments to the last 2 days, your current superintendent and the commitment he's made to the district over the years, the way he's worked with staff, the way he's worked with community. They talk about people want water, but the cuffs don't even get wet. So there are a lot of high praise for your.
Okay, that's a little much.
I agree, that's a little much.
Okay, so this tab that we're looking at here is strengths and good points of your district. What we asked the participants to do was to identify those. Yeah, she's got the qualities that they felt made Dodge City a great school district. And so we always ask this question because as the new superintendent comes in, these are those things they need to get up to speed with very quickly and understand that this community and this school district values these qualities. So at the top up there, it starts off with student and parent involvement are very high. We heard repeatedly, we have a lot of students involved in a lot of activities within our schools, and we offer a great range of activities for our students in our schools. The second line there, number 4, we're really diversified in what we offer. We're proud of our diversity. It's a strength that has allowed us to offer a broad range of supports. This one was really more along the supports line. The first one was more around the activities, co-curricular, extracurricular. But this was really more around the academic offerings and supports that we have because of the diversity that we have as an asset in our community. Line number 5 is promote and expect success and quality of our staff. This whole strand is really around the high quality staff and strong teachers that we have here and the high expectations that we have for staff in our district. And really, we have a progressive vision of what we want our staff to become. Kansas Teacher of the Year and multiple recipients of that and finalists this year again were referenced as an example of that high expectation and the quality that we expect within our staff. If you scroll up just a little bit there. Another strength that they felt was the larger community of Dodge City has a lot to offer as far as the different cultures and even the term microculture was given as some examples throughout the conversation today. But there's really a progressive attitude throughout the larger Dodge City community, and that was viewed as a strength. Advancements are very advanced in the use of technology, obviously you can see the one-to-one initiative listed throughout there. And there's always been a strong support for innovation in this district, and there was a lot of conversation around because we have diversity and we have needs, that's really helped us push innovation to meet those needs, and that's viewed as, again, a strength and an asset. And so it talks about being adaptable, being willing to try to innovate and be in front of some of the things that we need to provide for students to be successful. Line number 9 talks about the commitment and the connection of the school with the community and the great partnerships that are there and the support that the schools receive from the community. So if you'll just scroll up, so let's leave line number 10 there at the top. I'll let you kind of read down through the rest of those items, and if you have questions, I'll try to respond.
What is PD?
Professional development of staff.
Police department.
Yeah, I was going.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ryan and I have a history, so I figured he was just walking out on me. Yeah.
Ryan has a lot of history.
Does that sound like the strengths of your community, of your district?
Yeah. I believe there's just, that's the list there. So if you scroll back up to the top, I'll let you take a kind of a final look at kind of your top 4 or 5. Now to summarize again, at the top we have high levels of student involvement with a lot of offerings for curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular activities. The second grouping there is really around all the diverse programs that we offer to try to ensure that we're meeting student needs. The next line is there, line up there is about high quality staff. We value that, we have high expectations. And then line number 6 is really talking about the greater Dodge City community and the diversity and the cultures that we have present in that Dodge City community. So if you'll click over to critical needs now, please. So critical needs, the way we frame this for the participants is we ask them the question, or we ask them to describe or list the most critical needs of your district the new superintendent will need to understand and address. And so we frame this by telling them, so a new superintendent coming into your system, they need to get their arms around these issues in order to keep you on track with the great things that you're doing within your schools. And so, again, we let the groups talk about what they felt were their top critical issues. Really tried to force them to think globally, not down at their individual classroom or individual student level, but globally as a system, what are those critical issues that we have here in our community and schools. So the first one up there is talking about due to the student population that we have here, there are needs that we have to make sure we stay on top of and continue to provide supports for. The second line there is talking about class sizes, and that has some connection to another one of these needs, which is recruiting and retaining. You had a report on that earlier tonight. The third line up there is talking about Dodge City and really understanding the demographics of the community. Yes, we're in southwest Kansas, but we're not just a rural community in southwest Kansas. We have a lot of diversity, and there's a lot of things that somebody coming into the community needs to be aware of as they come in to be the superintendent here. Line number 6 is talking about really alignment and prioritizing of what we need to do here from a programming and curricular standpoint. That came up throughout the conversations. If you'll scroll up and kind of put line 7 there at the top, please. Line number 7, it was kind of the undertone of a lot of conversations, but really all the uncertainty with finances at the state level is a concern, and the new superintendent coming in is going to have to stay on top of that, be aware of changes and how that impacts Dodge City schools, because there's lots of implications, as you all are aware, with the funding formula being revamped, of how that could impact your schools and the resources that you have available. Line 8 is referring to the teacher recruiting, retaining, and shortage that we have. Line 9 is talking about preparing students for life after Dodge City Public Schools. We need to make sure we're doing a thorough job of preparing all students for that. So you'll see some discussion up there about partnerships, outreach, working with community college, working with businesses here in town. Line 10 is about continuing to engage and involve families in the community and in our educational process. And making sure they have a voice in that educational process. And then line 11 is around that vision and continuing to look forward. That's something that's going to be critical. We're doing great, but we can't rest on that. We have to keep moving forward. So if you scroll up and put line 12 at the top, please. I'll talk a little bit about line 12 because it came out in some conversations throughout the sessions around the influence that Dodge City schools have on the whole region, and Dodge City has really been a vocal leader and an influencer at the state level in advocating for students and their needs. And so that's something that's going to be expected of the new superintendent coming in. There's a past practice of being engaged at that level and being a voice for this region and the needs of this region, and that's really what that is talking about, not only from a fiscal standpoint, but also academic needs, social emotional development needs of students that are in our schools. Yeah, Dodge City is a trendsetter in a lot of cases, and that was referenced. So I'll let you continue to read down through that list and answer any questions that come up.
On number 15, student wellness, and then it talks about social and emotional. Was there any other discussion about what they meant by wellness?
I believe, we were in 2 rooms, so in my room, student wellness was all around. We have increasing needs from a social and emotional standpoint of students coming to our schools. That's going to be something it's not going to go away. We need to continue to try to provide supports. Any other different than that in your room?
And wellness generally refers to, and in this particular case, just the entire healthiness of a child.
Okay.
In other words, there's social, maybe some social problems, maybe some physical problems, maybe some emotional problems, but that's a factor that we need to take into account as our kids move through our system.
Okay.
And then scroll up, please. And there we go.
Did anybody elaborate on transparency?
That wasn't mentioned in the groups I were in. Transparency came out of.
They want to be familiar or have the knowledge of the information they're able to have, so it can just be increased communication with what they're capable and privileged to be able to know. They would like to have that information.
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, we've done a lot of these, and that's on every single one of them. And districts continually try to improve communication and transparency, and it always continues to come up. Yep.
Did they help with ideas about how it's going to occur?
We don't get into the problem solving here in these conversations. We let them discuss just what the critical issues are, and we try not to get into solutions. We just want to hear what the concerns are at this point. Yeah.
Okay, on 38, strong leaders not using their potential.
Again, I don't have a specific. That wasn't in my group.
That particular group, we mostly have the staff in our particular teaching staff. They really feel like there are some really strong leaders, not only at the building level, but at the teachers, and they would like to be able to use their potential, their wisdom, their knowledge of the district to be used to tap into whatever's best for the district.
Okay, we'll scroll back up to the top and let them kind of review the top group up there. So the top one up there is really looking at continuing to provide supports for the student population that we have. The next line there is about reducing class size. Line number 5 is talking about the context and understanding the larger Dodge City community, demographics. There's some potential out there, as there always is, for some different entities that maybe have some conflict. Prioritizing initiatives and alignment between the different programming and curriculum that we have in place is line 6. And then number 7 is really all around understanding and staying on top of the changing finance situation at the state level and the implications that has for Dodge City schools. Any questions on that one before we transition to the last area? Okay, let's go over to separating quality. So separating quality, what this is referencing is we talk to the participants and we really force them to provide for us what would be the single characteristic or quality that would separate a highly qualified candidate from other highly qualified candidates. And we often frame that by telling them, imagine you had the opportunity to select who the next superintendent was going to be. You've got 2 equally qualified people there that meet a lot of the needs that you're looking for, but what's the one quality or characteristic that's going to set one of those candidates above the rest of the candidates? And this is the results of that. So comparable experience, successful experience in a community similar to Dodge City or a district that has similar needs as Dodge City was number 1. 26 individuals said that was an important piece for them. Then you can kind of see it just goes down honesty, integrity. Personable, we see this again, that was also a high priority on the first tab when we let them just talk about general qualities. Vision, having somebody that's got a a vision for the future, a growth mindset, meaning they're always willing to think about how to improve and how to get better. Being responsive to an ethnically and culturally unique district, being accepting of the community and the diversity that's here, and valuing relationships and being approachable is line 9. And then I'll stop reading so you can concentrate and kind of see what those are, and if you have questions, I'll gladly try to answer those. Might scroll up, please, and to about line 17 or so. And again, these are just alphabetical. After you get past those on line 17, it's just an alphabetic rank. Okay, I'm go back to the top and let them kind of review the top setup there and make any notes that you need to.
We'll make sure everybody has a copy. You all will have a copy of these.
You can have that access to that as soon as, basically as soon as we're done. We have one more report we want to share with you, but it was an online report, and the online report, we don't get this, we shouldn't open it yet. And the reason I say that is we don't have control over it, no one does over an online, and the online report can add names, and anytime you mention someone's names, they need to be discussed in executive session to protect personal privacy rights. So we can go through that report for you, but we would need to do that in executive session.
Okay. I think that we want to go over that report. We have just a few things we need to finish up in open session, so I think if you guys can hold on for a minute, we'll finish up the open session part, and then we'll go into executive session. Okay. Okay, so Barbara, do you have any Park and Rec information for us?
I was just going to note that what we talked about in our last Park and Rec meeting is the same thing that's on I think the front page of the Dodge City Globe today, talking about needs for the baseball fields around Dodge City and how to go about acquiring them. The repairs or improvements that are necessary, and that's about all.
Okay, thank you. Right beginnings, Tracy?
Actually, we had our meeting today, so that was nice. I didn't have to remember what happened a month ago.
I know the feeling.
Enrollments are looking very well. We have, just on Head Start enrollment, there's 215 kids enrolled and 30 waitlisted. KPP, there's 12 waitlisted. So I think that the family advocates and all the people going out for Bright Beginnings and doing the legwork has identified that we still have a lot of need that we haven't met yet. And so I think that they have some great plans that they're looking at to see how we can expand out in the community. And then once we're able to take specific classrooms and make those all day, will be amazing. I can't remember if I mentioned it last time, but some of their community activities, they recently had a block party that had over 400 people show up.
Oh,
which
my.
is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
I know they didn't anticipate that many showing up, so hopefully they can outdo themselves next time.
Wow, that's great. Okay. Special education, is there anything?
Barbara went today.
I did.
Must have been memorable.
Yeah, well, I did take notes. But
Those
take one
meetings
quick
are
one.
memorable.
I think the longest part of the conversation was still real concerns about how to figure out a way to afford health insurance for paraprofessionals. It's just, the expense is so great. It's just real mind-boggling issue that is confronting everybody.
Mhm.
I'll leave it there.
Is there anything on the legislative end that we need to report on?
Still waiting on a Supreme Court decision, and
Yeah.
I think that the results of the Kansas election maybe put a few more moderate folks in the legislature, but they've got a big task ahead of them and not much time to get it accomplished.
Yeah.
I thought in the KSB newsletter today was interesting how many of the new legislators had a history in education. I thought that was fascinating.
That is, it is. All right, capital outlay, are you guys preparing to meet, or?
Getting ready to kick it off. It's
Yeah.
not going to be near as big this year as it has been in the past because of all the construction we
Right,
have going. So
right. And calendar committee? Nothing? Nothing
this
yet?
spring.
All right, we've got Barbara scheduled to review the district bills before the December board meeting. Just a reminder that we do not have a second meeting in November because of Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, American Education Week celebration at the Civic Center, 4 to 6. And again, as Yolanda said, if you can only come for a little bit, any little bit helps. So Tuesday, November 22nd, they'll have a 2-hour early dismissal for the Thanksgiving holiday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thanksgiving vacation, offices are closed. And then Monday, December 12th, is our next Board of Education meeting at 6 o'clock here in the Austin boardroom. Are there items for future meetings or other information? No? Okay. We need an executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy interests of the individual. How long?
15. Okay. He said about 15 minutes.
15 minutes? Okay.
You going to take a break first or just go right on into it?
I think, do we need a break?
I'm the old man and I'm good.
Okay.
I make a motion.
All right. We have a motion by Tammy,
Who stays?
second by Tracy. We need the 4 gentlemen from KASB, board council, and the 6 of us. Ryan may come back, so he can join us.
We've got a motion from Tammy.
Motion by Tammy, second by Tracy. All in favor? 6-0.